Hi class, welcome to my channel. Today I will be tackling quite a heavy and controversial topic, but it needs to be said. So recently there's been a lot of chatter about rich men being monsters, especially with all the drama surrounding P. Diddy and the heartbreaking story from Isis, a woman who recently shared her painful experience in a video titled, "I Married a Monster." So today we're diving into a question that's been all over the internet. Are rich men monsters, and is hypergamy really as people make it out to be? Let's get into it. Now, if you haven't heard of Isis, let me quickly catch you up. She was a single mom of 2 boys who found herself in a bad relationship where her partner wasn't really into her kids, so he basically just tolerated them. So he wasn't the father of the kids. She felt like he was just tolerating the kids for her sake. Eventually she left him, got homeless for a while, then met her now husband, this rich guy who seemed perfect on paper. He was a provider, he loved her kids, and she thought he was the guy who would give her the fairy tale soft life. But plot twist, he wasn't. Turns out this quote-unquote perfect man had been sexually abusive. Not only did he SA her 4 times before they even got married, but he also went on to SA her daughters. That's absolutely devastating. Now, people have been quick to criticize Isis for this, saying she should have known better, and I get that, but I can't help but empathize with her. This woman has gone through so much. Her father violated her mother, and that's how she came to life. She's a product of SA. She went through her own SAs, plural. And the fact that she had to live on the edge for so long while taking care of her kids, trying to find shelter for them or trying to find stability for them. Now, I don't know about her situation with the children's father, but I can assume he wasn't around as much as he should have been. So she was left to fend for herself and her kids, and in that vulnerable, desperate position, she sought safety with a man who seemed to offer her stability. But that stability came with a dangerous price. As much as people are pointing fingers at Isis, let's not forget that there are many layers to this. Yes, she should have left the man when he SA'd her the first time around. There's no excuse for staying in that situation and even bringing more kids into it. But let's not ignore the larger issue, how sexual violence has a generational ripple effect. This is a stark reminder of how the cycles of abuse can go on unless we actively break them. This isn't a story of a perfect victim, but rather an example of how trauma manifests and affects decisions for generations. Let's talk about the main question. Are rich men really monsters? The thing is, there are statistics that show that sexual violence doesn't discriminate. According to the UN Women Data Hub, an estimated 736 million women, almost 1 in 3, have been subjected to physical and or sexual intimate partner violence, non-partner sexual violence, or both at least once in their life. That's almost 30% of women globally. And guess what? If my math is mathing right, that includes both poor men and rich men. So let's stop pretending that money magically transforms a man into a monster. Now, I'll admit, money can amplify existing behaviors. It gives a person access to more people, more control, and unfortunately, the power to get away with more. It's like an abusive man with wealth now has the resources to silence victims, manipulate situations, and wield even more power. But the core issue is not the money, it's the behavior. It's inherent. A rich man with a history of abuse isn't just a product of his bank account. He's always been that way. He just now has more resources to get away with it. And honestly, if whoever is watching this, if you believe that being rich can create monsters out of people, then for the sake of society, I hope you never get rich. seriously, your mindset could make you a real monster and a danger to society if you got that kind of power with that mentality. Next up, let's talk about the irony of the so-called relationship experts out there. You've heard of Derek Jackson, right? The dude who told us we deserve better, and if a man just breathes in the wrong direction, to kick him to the curb. He's not good enough for you. But then had the nerve to cheat on his own wife in their own house and publicly embarrass both of them. Then there's Kevin Samuels. See how he had this whole high value man shtick where he would degrade women for not meeting these high standards? Yes, when he passed away, we found out he spent the night with a woman he had just met the day before. Very high value, very demure. And don't get me started on the fresh and fit guys who made a name by slut-shaming women and berating them on their podcasts. But one of them, who I can't even remember the name because honestly, who cares? But the chubby one went and knocked up an escort and introduced her to his mama. These people are walking ironies. Well, except Kevin Samuels, because he's dead. R.I.P. to him. It's clear that many of these relationship gurus, in quotes, are just out here for the views, money, and drama. They're not genuinely trying to help anyone. If anything, they're just making things worse by selling people unrealistic expectations and encouraging toxic, one-dimensional, extreme views without exploring any nuances, which can lead to harmful decisions. Honestly, after seeing the track records of these so-called experts, it's no wonder people are confused about what a healthy relationship really looks like. Oh, he has money? Marry him. Nothing else matters. She's a 10 and she's a virgin. Wifey material. He doesn't get you roses on Valentine's. He hates you and you should cut him off. Sprinkle, sprinkle, drizzle, drizzle. It all sounds so silly. And I think Isis's story is a cautionary tale. Let's be real for a second. When it comes to hypergamy and black women and women of color in general, the conversation gets tricky. Like when Cassie accused Diddy of abuse, most people claimed that she just wanted a cash grab and alluded to that she was always after his money and only believed her after a video of her SA surfaced. She was lucky enough to be a victim that had evidence. Not all victims are as lucky. Hypergamy is only shamed for women of color, especially black women. It is as though we don't deserve men who are established, and people often celebrate when we fail in hypergamous relationships because who do we think we are to find men who cherish us enough to take care of us? Suits us right. I see it all the time. When a black woman seeks out an established man, she's called a gold digger. But if the same black man marries a non-black woman, it's assumed that he's just high value. He has made it in life. No one questions the woman's role in helping him build. But for us, it's almost like we have to jump through hoops just to deserve a functional member of society. Black women are expected to help men build, have a pristine sexual history, be a virgin or as close enough to a virgin as possible, have their own money, and be everything a man wants. Meanwhile, if a black man marries a white woman, he's assumed to be successful, and she's automatically seen as the prize. We don't get the same grace. That's the same reason you lot were embracing Kim and Kanye's marriage, yet still try to desperately find holes in Beyonce and Jay-Z's marriage, trying to make her seem less than worthy, even though she's a literal goddess, if I do say so myself. Because if you look at it, I hate to compare, but there's a stark contrast. Because even though Jay-Z was only Beyonce's second boyfriend, allegedly, reportedly, and she's arguably the most popular woman in the industry, people still find issues with her, while Kim K is not as established as B, though successful in her own right, and her marriage to Kanye was her third, and she had a popular film, we should say, people just still idolized their relationship more than Beyonce and Jay-Z's. The double standards are so blatant. I wouldn't think of myself as hypergamous, honestly, but I think hypergamy isn't inherently bad, and neither is desiring a partner who can provide security. There's someone for everyone. The issue lies in the double standard and the constant shifting of the goalposts when it comes to us Black women specifically. Look, the bottom line is hypergamy is a choice, not a trend. And while there's nothing wrong with wanting a partner who provides, but it's crucial to do your due diligence. Don't just jump into a relationship because of someone's money, status, reputation, whatever one thing you wanted. A rich man can be a monster, and a broke man can be abusive too. Trust your instincts, look out for red flags, and always prioritize your safety and well-being, especially when you have children. And for the love of everything good, stop taking relationship advice from people who can't even walk the walk. Get advice from people who truly care about you, who know you. Don't you people have friends? Honestly, bring back friends. Let's make that trend. Let's let that be the new red pill. Bring back friends, please. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you would like more of these discussions, and feel free to let me know your views in the comments. I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Class dismissed.